Hey everyone, welcome back. So as you saw, we're going to be doing a story about a missing person today. I want to apologize in advance. I have a small cold, so my voice sounds a little off today. But anyways, let's go ahead and just get started. Everything that I'm going to be using, I will be putting it down in the description box below. So if you guys are interested, make sure you go ahead and check that out. Today's story, you guys, is going to be about a girl named Sage Smith. Sage's story begins in November 2012. She is a young trans woman who lives in Charlottesville, Virginia. She is 19 years old and she just graduated high school and she's going to go to school for cosmetology, and she actually owns her own apartment with two other roommates who are also trans named Shakira and Aubrey. So at 19 years old, Sage is obviously on the road of accomplishment because she has so many good things going for her right now. So on November 19th, they decided to throw Shakira her 19th birthday party right at the apartment. And during the birthday party, some random girl came over and just basically started drama and was picking a fight with one of Sage's other friends. And apparently it was over some boy. So the fight actually got so bad that it was taken outside, and obviously the entire party ended up being outside also. And outside there was like a line of cars of where everybody parked, and obviously, assuming because there was a big party. But one of the cars outside ended up being that random girl's like backup or like her posse. So obviously they got out when they saw the fight come outside. So now there's like a whole brawl happening outside. And Sage actually ended up getting into a fight with a person named Jamel. So I guess it was supposed to be a one-on-one fight, but then people started jumping in. So the whole party started jumping in and everybody else got into a fight. I mean, yeah, you know how that goes. So around 11:20 p.m., the cops ended up coming and breaking up the fight and started taking down reports and statements and things like that. Sage tells them that she didn't even know that girl who came to the party to start that drama, and she kind of honestly didn't even know why she was mad, and it almost looked like she was kind of purposely trying to start that fight. So after everything dies down and like the cops go and everybody else goes home, Sage actually ended up getting into it with Shakira, the girl whose party it was. Shakira actually didn't even jump in to like protect anybody like from the house or anything like that. So Sage got into her because like obviously she was like, hey, what the hell? Like, you're supposed to have my back. And like I guess Shakira knew that girl who was coming that started the drama. But honestly, you guys, in my opinion, like, if you're my friend and you're going to get into a fight and someone else jumps in from the other side, like, I'm jumping in to protect you. And I guess that's how, like, Sage was thinking. Like, you didn't have my back kind of thing. So, yeah, they got into a fight, and Shakira actually ended up leaving. She said she was going to go to her family's house and just stay the night over there, so, to, like, avoid any more drama. And what's sad, you guys, this is actually the last time her and Sage spoke and the last conversation they had. And the last thing Sage told her is that she hated her. And yeah, that was kind of, like I said, the last conversation. So which kind of sucks because like if I never see my friend ever again and that was their last conversation, like I would feel so devastated. So later on that night, the person that Sage fought, that Jamel person, they actually went on Twitter and put this on their Twitter. Quote, "Been disrespected to the point of no return." Which to me, that kind of sounds like a threat. I'm just saying, maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but I don't know. I have a tendency to read things in a threatening manner or like a, I know she didn't kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it sounded more like a threat. So on November 20th, which at the time this was Thanksgiving Eve, Sage was actually planning to be with the family the entire weekend, just hang out and just be with each other. But Sage that day was actually getting ready for a date. And it was around 5:30, I guess, when she ended up waking up her other roommate, Aubrey, and telling her like, hey, I'm leaving. I'll be back later. And this was actually the last time that Aubrey saw her or spoke to her, which is, again, kind of sad because, like, you don't expect the last time you see the person is the last time you see that person. Okay, so when Sage actually never came home, Aubrey actually started to get worried. And when she was calling her phone, the phone was going literally straight to voicemail, which was weird because she was the type of person that always had her phone on, like on her and on, like always charging to the point where she brought her charger everywhere. So that was like really weird for her. Also, by this time, her family, Sage's family, was also aware that she was like gone or missing, because they also tried to call her and everything was going straight to voicemail. Now, they ended up talking to Sage's stepsister. I don't know how this went about, but Sage's stepsister did say that she did see Sage that night before. So I'm guessing this was the 21st now. But yeah, that she's seen her the night before, and she was actually on her way to catch the bus to go home. And she just said that Sage was on her phone with somebody, but she wasn't sure with who. And she heard Sage say, "Hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes," like on the phone to that person. So they literally just exchanged like hellos and goodbyes, and that was around 6:30 p.m. So honestly, if you kind of think about it, between 5:30 and 6:30, no one really knows what Sage was doing or where her whereabouts was. And it kind of almost seemed like, to like her sister, the way Sage was talking or like her body language, it kind of seemed like she was actually being set up or like sent there, and like no one was ever going to show up. But anyways, by this time, Aubrey actually calls the police to file a missing persons report, and that's when the police actually started doing the search, kind of like immediately, and they started searching the places where her last known whereabouts, so like that bus stop and like that bus stop in between like her apartment kind of area, and also like the businesses that were kind of close to that area, but they didn't come up with no clues. The police did try to build a timeline and use her phone records to see like where she was and who she was talking to. But the thing is, back then, you guys, when you asked for phone records from the phone companies, it used to take like literally like maybe like a week or two to like get those phone records. Like they're not immediately like they are now. So like I said, unfortunately, they had to wait for those phone records. So as the police was trying to get the phone records, her family was actually trying to get into her phone account, like online. And they actually got in, which is like weird because like my family doesn't know my password, only my husband does. So I don't know. Anyways, they noticed that there was a phone on there which was the last phone number that she called, that they didn't recognize at all. Now, the dad, which by the way, his name is Dean, so I'm just going to call him Dean from now. Dean actually calls this number, but no one ever picks up. And the voicemail is like one of those generic voicemails. So like they still don't know like who that phone number belongs to. Now, Dean is one of those determined dads that like literally he will do anything to get some help. So out of desperation, he actually posts the phone number on the Facebook, asking anyone, saying like, if you know this phone number, let me know who it is. This is the last person Sage talked to. And he actually gets a hit, like someone actually reaches out. So the person that reached out was named Yanni. Yanni says that, yes, I know that phone number and I know why Sage would have been talking to him. That number belongs to a person named Eric McFadden. And he was actually secretly dating Sage, but he has a girlfriend. So obviously Dean wants to talk to this Eric McFadden guy, but the phone number is not working because it keeps going to voicemail. And so this is when he decided to actually try Facebook again. So he gets a picture from Yanni and posts it up on Facebook saying, hey, have you seen this guy? Because he was the last person seen with my son. Now, I know that you guys are like, wait, he said son, not Sage. Well, Sage actually started transitioning like a couple of months to a year before that. So everyone was still kind of getting used to him being a her and kind of into Sage. So yeah, so I guess that's why it kind of like just slipped up. So anyways, as Dean is doing his research, he actually did not tell the police what he was doing because he knew that they would essentially tell him to stop, because I mean, he was getting his own momentum going and he was actually getting answers, but the way he was getting it, it was kind of technically illegal. So that's another reason why he didn't want to tell the cops. But around this time, the police were actually just like a few steps behind him, because they actually got to Eric McFadden as a person of interest on their own. So there was this student from the University of Virginia named Esther. Esther, by the way, is Eric's girlfriend. So Esther ended up calling the police on the 24th because she said that she couldn't get a hold of her boyfriend, and she wanted them to do a welfare check at her apartment. So she's not able to do it, you guys, because she actually went home for the holidays. So she's like not even in the area, so she couldn't check herself. But when the police get to the apartment, no one is home. But oddly enough, on that same day, Yanni then comes into the police station and basically tells the police the entire story of like Sage being missing, now who Eric was to her, and how they were secretly dating. I mean, literally everything. She puts everything out on the table. You guys, side note, Yanni is a real beast, because honestly, without her putting any type of input, nobody would have got any type of answers. So shout out to Yanni. So now at this time, by the 24th, both Sage and Eric are now missing. So the police are thinking that they could either be missing because they went missing together on purpose, like they just ran away together, or something literally happened to Sage and Eric had something to do with it. So now he was on the run, also on purpose, trying to avoid jail time and stuff like that. So right away, the police actually go to the public with the information that they have, stating that they kind of need to talk to Eric ASAP. The police knows that something is up because Eric didn't even show up for his job, and it's been like a couple days now, so they know honestly, no one just ups and leaves just because. I mean, I've never known anyone to do that unless they're a part of something that's not in a good way, like not showing them in the good light, if you know what I mean. They did end up getting a warrant to search Esther's apartment, but the only thing that they found that might have helped is a receipt that was on for November 22nd from a CVS. Now, this was 2 days after Sage went missing, so now they know that he actually didn't go missing with her. But the receipt on the info on the receipt, there was nothing alarming. I think there was I don't know, toilet paper, toothpaste kind of thing on there. So people actually started guessing that it was Dean's Facebook post that made Eric kind of panic and freak out and decided to skip town. And I'm thinking it was because he didn't want people to know that he was associated with Sage. Because he was an undercover / closet gay, or, being outed. I don't know. All those words seem really vulgar to me. I don't know. I feel weird saying them. But anyways, he didn't want to be outed by anybody. Like I said, he didn't want anybody to know that he was associated with Sage. So now people were thinking that's why he might have ran away, because he didn't want people to find out the affair he was having with Sage, especially his girlfriend. Or he, like I said, had something to do with Sage's disappearance. So finally, a couple of days go by and the police get the phone records that they've been waiting for from Sage's phone. But they are just confirmed whatever Yanni and Dean already found out themselves, that the phone number was actually indeed Eric's phone number, and that Eric was the last person who spoke to Sage. And they actually spoke around 6:36, which basically was around the same time when Sage and her stepsister kind of met up at that bus stop. But what they did have that Dean couldn't get was the text transcripts from Sage's phone. And minutes before she got that last phone call, one of the last text messages she sent out is something like, "You stood me up. I've been waiting forever. I'm only going to give you 5 more minutes." And I guess this is when also she was on the phone when the stepsister saw her, when she was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever. I'll be there in 5 minutes," to that other person on the phone. I guess that's like right after that happened. Now, on November 27th, this is now 7 days since Sage has been missing, Eric himself ends up calling the station to talk to police, which to me is bonkers. He said why he left Virginia, and he said that he wanted to go to New York City because he always wanted to go there, which if you're you guys, I have this most serious eye roll right now, or side eye, okay, you up and left because you want to go to see New York. That doesn't even sound right. Because you didn't even answer your girlfriend's texts or calls, and then you didn't even talk to your friends about this. No one knew you were going to New York. That's why I think it's it doesn't match. That's a lie. Now, he did admit that he was in some type of relationship with Sage, and that he's gonna come back to Virginia to speak to them in person and just kind of straighten everything out. But guess what, you guys? He never shows up. Of course he doesn't. He also stops talking to the police, but he does get pretty chatty with his girlfriend, Esther. He basically told her, that they met up and was taking, a stroll down, I don't know, on the sidewalk or something. And then that a group of people came up to them and it made him uncomfortable. So that's when he, turned around and just left. So basically, he just left Sage there with them, which, again, sounds weird. Now, to me, my questions were okay, so how many people were there? Were there any girls? Were there any boys? Did anybody mention any names? Did anybody have any words? He did say that it seemed like Sage had beef with these people. Plus, I mean, he knows that Sage had a list of enemies because she was known to always be involved with closeted men, which she would use this against him to kind of blackmail to get what she wanted. And of course, like, blackmail can get you enemies, so I would understand that. Eric also did mention that she was also trying to blackmail him as well. Now, they know this because there were looking into people like that Sage was talking to, and they found a man that was outed by Sage like a while back, and that dude's girlfriend is the one who actually found out because she saw some like emails that was going on between them. So he actually ended up attacking Sage, but he was not a suspect in her disappearance because when this happened, he was actually already in jail for like a different thing. So now it's December 3rd and a new suspect pops up. Now, it's been about 2 weeks since Sage's disappearance by this time, and people are monitoring literally everything that's going on with like Sage's stuff. So like her credit cards and stuff. So police actually got footage from like a convenience store, and it was actually Aubrey that was actually on the other side. And she was using her card because she wanted to, well, she said she wanted to get some groceries and stuff for the apartment. But what was weird is that she was acting a little, I don't know, like a little off because she ended up wearing like Sage's stuff, like her jewelry, her clothes, and her wigs, which I think it's weird if your friend's missing, like, why are you wearing her stuff kind of thing? Like, that should be all to her, like, parents, like, all that should go to her parents. Aubrey also said that she actually didn't know Eric, and she only knew him by, like, association with Sage, but an eyewitness actually saw them all three hanging out at that party. Remember Shakira's party? So why would she lie about that? Anyways, she is starting to look kind of sketch in my opinion, but the police couldn't connect her to Sage's disappearance. So that's when they had to, like, you know, just take her off the list. So 2 months after that incident, on February 2013, they get a new eyewitness that goes to the police and kind of like shares her story or her experience. Her name is Monica. Monica actually knows Sage for a couple of years, so she's not like a random person. And she said that she actually talked to Sage at around 7 p.m. on the 20th, which is that same day that she went missing. She said that she was at a restaurant kind of like hanging out at the bar. And Monica said that Sage told her that she was supposed to be meeting somebody, and that's when they like parted ways. So right now we have the last phone call from Eric, which is at 6:36, and then supposedly that last sighting, which was at 7 p.m. at that restaurant. That restaurant, which is called Wild Wing Cafe, by the way, was actually right next to an Amex station, which I guess that's where she was supposed to be meeting Eric, like at that spot. Now, my question is did they ever meet at that spot, or did they meet at the restaurant? The thing is, they did question people like at the restaurant. There, unfortunately, like, it's been too long, so they don't have no footage or anything like that. But no one could like definitely say, yes, I saw Sage, or no, I didn't see Sage. Unfortunately, you guys, a lot of time has passed for her disappearance, and now police are considering it as a homicide. Okay, so by November 2015, police say that Eric is no longer a suspect because his digital footprint didn't match to like the entire situation. They said that based on his computer activity and his phone activity, he was on it from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. and nothing was like out of the ordinary, or like he wasn't looking up anything that would make him look suspicious. But to me, I'm like sitting here, yeah, you said 11, but like 11 is a couple way more hours than 6:36 when they were supposed to meet up. So there's a lot of time before something could happen. He could just literally go back home and be on his computer. Or am I just overthinking? Let me know, you guys. I can't be the only one. So the thing is, Eric doesn't have a car, and the apartment that he was living in, he was with other people. So they were thinking there's no way that he would be able to murder somebody and transport the body unless they saw him or they helped him, which I'm guessing like his roommates were not connected to this disappearance. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird how they got up to this conclusion. And also, what makes them think like it was him on the computer? If he had roommates, usually roommates have a lot of things in common. You would think that they were like, let's just say we're talking about video games, for example. They would all be like looking up video games, or like, I don't know. I'm just maybe thinking like, what makes them think that it was him on the computer? I just feel like since they didn't talk to him in person and he was being so sketchy, that they shouldn't have removed him from that person of interest list. Now, in March 2017, you guys, so this is 2 years after, they said that they had cleared Eric. The case was now, like I said, considered a homicide. Eric is now again a person of interest by 2017. Now, there was nowhere where I can find like what made this happen. I don't think they put it out there in public, like why they put him back on the list. But you guys, Eric has to be involved somehow. I'm telling you. Maybe it's just my opinion, but you guys, I definitely think he was involved somehow. Now, they do believe that Sage was now murdered, and they wouldn't say why also they think this. I don't know if it was also because of, him being, Sage being transgender, because, there's a lot of hate crime against that. That also could be a possibility, which would be really, really sad on top of everything. But you guys, like I said, they haven't seen Eric for a couple years now, and now even his mom has now filed a missing persons report. So he literally just disappeared from the face of the earth. He stopped talking to Esther. He obviously doesn't talk to his mom, so I think he's literally on the run or in hiding. Honestly, I just hope that Sage's family gets some justice, because they haven't been able to even find a body to, definitively say that this was a murder. And I mean, they don't have a body to bury. They don't have no one to say goodbye to. They are still mourning. They're still, out there looking for answers and for clues and all these things. So it's just a family still fighting to get justice. So you guys, I do have a phone number for Crime Stoppers for their area. It's 443-977-4000. If you guys by any chance have any information, give them a call, and just, it could be anonymous. So this case is still cold. And like I said, we need to get closure for this family. You guys know what I always say. We have to keep them relevant. We have to keep saying their name, and we have to keep telling their story. You guys, don't forget to subscribe and comment down below to tell me what you guys think. What do you guys think about Sage's story? All right, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.